I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis spoke to the Florida American Legion Boys State on Tuesday. He touted his state's response to the coronavirus pandemic, saying Florida, quote, didn't want to lock people down. The potential 2024 presidential contender also ripped vaccine mandates imposed in other states. DeSantis has been a vocal critic of actions like vaccine mandates in the past. Last year, he signed multiple bills targeting COVID-19 measures into law. Listen in for his full remarks.
Dira Beach, post 273. Yeah, I did an event there last week. They have this great post right on the water there, right off the beach. It's really fantastic real estate. They got a great membership. And then do we have anyone from Palm Valley? Anyone from Palm Valley here? Yeah, we do. There we go. That's actually what I'm a member of the Palm Valley one from back in the day. So it's a great organization, a lot of great people, and we appreciate what you guys are doing to help these kids. And I hope you guys are enjoying yourself up here. We in Florida, I think we should consider us very fortunate, because I think you look around the country. There's a lot of states where people are doing whatever they can to get the heck out of those states. You've had a lot of coronavirus lockdowns, you had mandates, you had all kind of things persisting for months and even years, where you had kids couldn't even get into school in certain parts of the country, people forced to do jabs against their will, businesses totally destroyed, and that really has caused huge dislocations in those communities. And I think in Florida, we did the opposite. We didn't want to lock people down. We wanted to lift people up, and that meant protecting people's freedoms. It meant protected people's right to work. Government does not have the right to tell you can't earn a living. It has a right to operate businesses. We have all these family businesses that it's not like they're living high on the hog, and they need to be protected, particularly from a local government that would want to do something like a closure. And then we also have said every kid in Florida from very early on has a right to be in school in person 5 days a week. Now, the other places that didn't do that were and I got sued over that for having schools open. The union sued me. They wanted to close the schools, and we won the lawsuit. And everyone was saying, you can't have kids in school. This is. Now, they were not following data. They were following politics. They were trying to sow fear, and we just weren't going to have any of it. We were going to make sure we did what was right. And so now people will look back. Even Harvard did a study, and they looked at all the different states, and the states that kept these kids out of school for so long, you've had big-time explosion in the achievement gaps. In Florida and in other states that did like we did, we've seen no increase in any achievement gaps with our schools. And so how you're going to get that back in some of those areas, I don't know, but I think that's going to have effects for years and years down the line. And then we also were faced with a situation where people were going to lose their jobs based on whether they got an mRNA shot. And, my view is that's your decision. It's not something that you should lose your job over. And so the federal government was trying to impose that. We had businesses that were also trying to do it. So last year we did a special session of the legislature. A lot of people's jobs were really hanging in the balance. We provided protections for people so that they can make the best decisions for them. We saved tens of thousands of jobs throughout the state of Florida. We saved jobs of police officers and firefighters, nurses, people that work at big companies like Disney that wanted to fire people. And so that was really, really significant. And there's other places that did just the opposite, where people who had been faithful servants in law enforcement, fire, the nurses was unbelievable. There were some states that would fire nurses over their choice of vax. Now, many of these nurses had already had COVID and had immunity through prior infection. So people say we have such a shortage, so they would put good quality people that already have immunity out of work. But then what would happen, they would have these crisis moments where you'd have a surge of patients. They needed more people to come do. So what did they do? Did they bring back the nurses who had immunity through prior infection but did not get the shot? No. They actually were bringing back on the job in places like California nurses who had gotten the shot but were nevertheless still currently COVID positive. So they're actually bringing these COVID positive nurses into work because they don't want to do the healthy nurses just because they didn't bend the knee and do this. And so that's insane. And so we never did that in the state of Florida. And people, I mean, we're a much better place now to work. I mean, nurses want to come here, law enforcement, everything. We also did something that was very important for quality of life. We banned vaccine passports last year. And this is a situation, you're in some parts of the country, you want to just go up to a restaurant, they make you show medical papers just to be able to get into the restaurant. So if you think about it, if you make a decision or someone doesn't, makes a decision, hey, I've already had COVID, I don't really need to get any, you would be excluded from being able to participate in society the way everybody else is. And so that was something that we applied statewide. And people said, well, if a business wants to do passports, why shouldn't they be able to do it? And the problem with that was, if one business did it, then people would say Florida has passports. And so you look at our tourism, it would have absolutely suffered. Doing what we did, 2021, even with COVID, 2021, record domestic tourism in the state of Florida. We had never done better with domestic tourism. And then you look so far in this year, the first quarter of 2022, all the foreign visitors to the United States of America in the first quarter, if you take that whole group of who visited our country, 45% of those visited the state of Florida. So there's never been one state that had such a big percentage of that. And so that translates into people being able to work, put food on the table, businesses being able to succeed. Our unemployment rate's consistently been less than the national average for really about 18 months now. And we now have in the state of Florida the largest